Why are the shapes you choose in plate design so important? Well, in this episode of The Plating Gym, we're going to be exploring just that with two stunning dishes from two amazing visual chefs. If you're new to this channel and this series, welcome. My name's Tom and I've been a food photographer for the past 10 years, taking literally thousands of photographs of the most beautiful plates of food across the UK. And it's in plate design and presentation where photographer and chef meet. So why are the shapes we choose in plating so important? We'll check out this dish from Cole in London. Just how much impact does this triangular shape have? For me it's loads, as you don't tend to see such precise and intentional triangles on the plate. But first, let me tell you what we're actually looking at. This dish by Chef Santiago Lastra is a Mexican street food classic called antojitos, or literally little cravings, which is prepared by street food vendors and small traditional markets in Mexico. Traditionally a favourite from the central part of the country, they are corn tortillas. They are filled with beans, wrapped to form triangles, and cooked on the comal. But at Cole's they're wildly different. Filled with wild mushrooms and nettles, before searing on the comal and wrapping within British asparagus and served with a quail egg yolk, mole verde and wild garlic flowers. But this is clearly elevated from the classic street food. I love how the triangle contrasts with the circle of the quail egg and the circle of the mole verde. It's also been placed on a plate that fits with its street food provenance. It's simple, textured and humble, reflecting its origins beautifully. The final shape we can see is from the garlic flowers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it just adds a little bit more weight and visual interest to the dish. The next thing that strikes me about this plate is the analogous colour palette of greens and yellows. Clearly there are some other colours in here from the mushrooms and the nettles, but we can't actually see that from this angle or until it's broken into. The colour of the garlic flowers mirrors wonderfully the colour of the asparagus, even though the textures are very contrasty, which makes them pop off the plate. Then you have the yellow of the yolk and the more muted greens of the mole, but both work well in this analogous colour palette, chosen by Santiago. I also really like how the smoothness and glistening nature of both these elements once again contrasts with the hard lines of the asparagus and the leaves of the garlic flowers. If you want to find out more about colour theory in plating, then why not click on this video here for a much deeper dive. Now I know I've mentioned this before in this series, but one of the reasons why this photograph works so well is the way it's placed on this beautiful surface. Now as I didn't take this photograph, I can't actually tell you what it is, but here's a pro tip for you. Always keep an eye out for chairs, floors, cushions or linens that you may have lying around your house or restaurants, as these can work brilliantly in photography and for your social media. It just requires a little bit more thought and a little bit more planning. Now if you want a little bit more help with your plating, why not download my Plate Like a Pro guide from the description below. It's already been downloaded literally hundreds of times by amateurs and pros alike, and it's completely free. But if you find any value in it, then I'd really appreciate a like to this video or subscribe to the channel. It's going to really help the channels grow and tell YouTube to put this video in front of more passionate platists just like you and me. Also, if you want to see more videos from the Plating Gym, then I'll leave a link to the playlist right here. On to the next plate, which comes from a brilliant visual chef called Niels Brants from the one-star Michelin restaurant called Essencial in Belgium. It's their signature dish and it's a tartare of langoustine, sour cream, caviar, radish and dashi. For me it's an absolute wow of a dish, just like the one we saw earlier from Cole, and made me stop scrolling through my Instagram feed when looking for dishes with stunning shapes for this video. The shape element of this dish that really stood out for me was the combination of ingredients and the plate. But to give you a better idea of why it's so powerful, it's good to look from the side on. And you'll see that he's used two plates, 1 and 2, used in tandem to create the repeating, curved patterns that we see all the way around it. This is clearly mirrored in how Niels has sliced the radish here, and then precisely placed them into a circle at an angle like this. For me this dish is far more powerful from the side, although it still works from the top too, but it's from the side angle you get a really good idea of how hard and the skill it must have taken to plate this. It's such a great example of how a plate can be used in the design of the dish too. Had he simply used a standard single plate, rather than the two we've got here, it still would have been pretty arrangement, but the combination of the two is what elevates this into something really special. But again, it's not just about the shapes at work here. Colour also plays a part too, but in a much more monochromatic way than in the last dish. Tones, tints and shades of red work beautifully, especially against the outer ring of radish that provides a boundary between where the plate starts and the food ends. So what do you think about these two dishes, and do you have a favourite? If so, let me know in the comments below. Are there going to be any of these techniques that you might think about using in your own plating? Now if you struggle with your plating, why not click on the video here, which is the start of a series of videos about how you can make your food look restaurant quality at home. From tips about colour and composition, to sketching your dish in advance, and how to prep your work area to give you the best chance of success. I look forward to seeing you in the next gym session.